Pursuant to notice, I now call up H.R. 3429, the U.S., Japan, and Republic of Korea Trilateral Cooperation Act. The bill was circulated in advance, and the clerk shall designate the bill.
H.R. 3429.
Without objection, the first reading is dispensed with, and the bill is considered read and open to amendment at any point. And I now recognize myself in support of this bill. I want to thank my colleagues, Representative Barra and Representative Wilson, for their bipartisan leadership on this piece of legislation. The U.S., Japan, and Republic of Korea Trilateral Cooperation Act builds on historic momentum from the August 2023 Camp David Summit, reaffirming our shared commitment to peace, security, and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific. As threats from China, Russia, and North Korea mount, this bill provides a platform for coordination among three of the region's most trusted partners. By establishing a formal interparliamentary dialogue, we are ensuring Congress is directly engaged in advancing the trilateral partnership. In an increasingly volatile Indo-Pacific, our trilateral unity with Japan and South Korea is essential to countering aggression, deterring conflict, and safeguarding the international rules-based order. With this legislation, we send a clear signal the United States is serious about deepening strategic cooperation with our closest allies in Asia. I strongly urge my colleagues to support this forward-looking piece of legislation. Do any other members seek recognition? Ranking Member Meeks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, support this measure authored by Ranking Member Barra and thank him for his leadership in encouraging greater trilateral cooperation with two of our closest allies in the world, Japan and South Korea. This is a bipartisan measure that highlights the importance of our cooperation to advance our shared interests in the Indo-Pacific. The trilateral cooperation has strong bipartisan support in Washington, but now that we have new leadership in all three capitals, we must sustain it. That is why this bill is so important. It calls on the Secretary of State to work with the Japanese and Korean governments to establish a trilateral interparliamentary dialogue. This is vitally important, and it is why I support this measure, and we should pass it collectively. And I yield back the balance of my time.
Do any other members seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Barra.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Ranking Member Meeks. I'd also like to speak in support of H.R. 3429, the U.S.-Japan ROK Trilateral Cooperation Act, and I urge my colleagues to join me in supporting this bipartisan legislation. I'd like to thank my colleagues, Representatives Wilson, Kelly, Castro, Smith, and the late Honorable Jerry Connolly, who were co-chairs of the Korea and Japan caucuses, for introducing this bill with me. Representative Connolly was a champion of the trilateral relationship, and I'm pleased to see this committee continuing his legacy by considering this important legislation today. Mr. Chairman, as you mentioned, the historic Trilateral Leaders Summit at Camp David really did mark a milestone of codifying multi-year trilateral military exercises between our partners, improved cooperation on ballistic missile defense between the United States, Japan, and Korea, a trilateral working group on North Korea's cyber activities, a trilateral development finance corporation to work together in other areas, trilateral maritime security cooperation framework, a supply chain early warning system, and much more. And that was at the executive level. What we've also seen, though, is at the executive level, we had an election last November with the new administration coming in, but we've also seen both in Japan and Korea, new administration is coming in. And part of the thought behind the legislative dialogue, the interparliamentarian dialogue on an annual basis, is many of us who are members of the United States Congress, members of Japan's Diet, members of Korea's National Assembly are here longer than one administration or another. So we do think an annual gathering is incredibly important. Talking to our counterparts in Japan and Korea, they also share that same intention of an ongoing dialogue. So this legislation really would strengthen that critical trilateral cooperation by really codifying an annual interparliamentarian dialogue between the United States Congress, Japan's National Diet, and South Korea's National Assembly. And with that, Again, I think this is an important piece of legislation. I respectfully urge the committee to pass H.R. 3429 and reaffirm our commitment to deepening the U.S.-Japan ROK trilateral cooperation in the face of the shared challenges. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you for your work on this piece of legislation. Representative Barra, do any other members seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Mfume.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I just want to speak briefly in support of this Amendment 3429 and associate myself with the comments of yourself as chair and Mr. Meeks as ranking member. All duly noted facts and all duly noted in terms of why it is important that we get behind this. And I don't want to forget anybody else. I know Mr. Barra pretty much said the same thing, so I would associate myself with his remarks also. And while I have the floor, Mr. Speaker, I do want to commend members of the committee, in particular Mr. Smith of New Jersey, for fighting so very hard for this Frederick Douglass human trafficking law. It's very important, and the gentleman from New Jersey has worked on this over and over and over again. I'm happy to be a co-lead on it, and understanding the fact that Frederick Douglass cared so much about trafficking. In this case, it was trafficking of human beings, slaves, and finding a way to bring an end to that. I think it was appropriate that this particular amendment carries that title. And again, I want to thank Mr. Smith and everybody else who worked so hard to bring this to fruition. I yield back.
Representative yields back. Is there any further discussion? There being no further discussion of the bill, the committee will move to consideration of amendments. Does any member wish to offer an amendment? There being no amendments, I move that the committee report H.R. 3429 to the House with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask for a recorded vote?
In a moment.
Okay.
All those opposed signify by saying no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to.
Mr. Chairman, may I
A
ask?
roll call vote
Thank you.
has been requested pursuant to the chair's previous announcement. This vote will be postponed.